even though it's in its own place, so your mind is very healthy and you're very good at details, but there's a pull between the male and female within yourself. Now, they're both happy. I mean, Venus is happy in Leo, so, certainly your attractiveness, you are someone that is able to pull yourself together and make yourself look well, even, I'm sure with the aftermath of the illness, you found ways to, get a new hat or do something to make yourself look well. Is that true?
Yes, it's something that I've always worked on.
Yeah, and you enjoy it, which is good. I think it's really fun. I think you ought to do things like that are quite fun. What kind of thing are you interested in doing?
I always loved working in an office.
Mm-hmm.
But part of the side effects from the treatment was nerve damage.
Mm-hmm.
And I've lost feeling in my arms and legs. Back to a certain point, I've been taking computer classes to try and regain those skills that I lost, but it's one of the hardest battles I've ever had. It's very difficult trying to type when you can't feel the keys and you're trying to build up speed and movement. But I loved it. I don't...
Right, but I think that... if you can get yourself in a position where you're more interacting with people and not necessarily typing, taking a job, working with do you like beautiful things, or do you like to, even a receptionist or something, more where you're directing traffic. I think to put that kind of pressure on yourself with, if you're having some numbness and there's a nerve problem and so on, temporarily, if you could go out and try even something like a beauty parlor, I think you'd be great in a beauty parlor. I think you'd have fun, and you'd have fun getting people dolled up, and you'd be very good at it. So, I think... you probably should go with more of something that... I understand that the need to want to have more information, but if you could deal with the information over the telephone, if you could perhaps, make money at talking to people on the phone somehow. Or, as I say, working in some kind of a social environment. Just try it temporarily, try doing something like that for a while. And then, perhaps go back to the computer, the very controlled, detailed-oriented kind of stuff.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you for calling.
Okay, Mary. Once again, Mary, we're going to take a break, Mary. 241-1310 is the number to call. 241-1310 for the astrologer, Mary Michele. Mary, on hold is Phyllis, a woman watching in Mount Kisco. She goes by the name of Phil. She's on line 3. We're going to talk with her in just a little bit. Her birthday, though, is July 27th, 1914. July 27th, 1914. Okay, and we'll be right back with more of Mary Michele.
Money sense. It's something we all need, especially when it comes to investing and planning for retirement or protecting assets and income. Money sense is what we have now every Wednesday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. Certified financial planner Bob Reeby offers a full hour of timely financial news, information, and opinion. It's live, it's local, and it could be the most important hour of your week. Money sense with Bob Reeby every Wednesday morning at 9 on the one and only VIP 1310 a.m.
Looking for the perfect recipe to satisfy your talk show hunger?
Just keep chatting. Whoop, there it is.
E-Entertainment Television is serving it up just the way you like it.
Talk soup. Nice, big, hot, steamy bowl.
With the finest ingredients.
We don't use any MSG.
The most outrageous segments.
Ladies come out swinging.
All the good stuff with none of the fat.
Give us a half hour, we'll give you nightmares for a week.
In fact, you'd have to watch hours and hours of ordinary talk shows just to get all the goodness that's jam-packed into each and every hearty helping of Talk Soup.
It's almost a stew if you think about it.
Only on cable and only from E-Entertainment Television, the entertainment news and information authority.
Can you think of anything better?
Talk Soup with Greg Kinnear. It's always hot.
And to order Talk Soup, call Cablevision of Yorktown, 962-4444.
Welcome back to the Astrology Show. My name is Marty McCabe. Mary Michele is here taking your calls. 241-13-1310. 1310 is the number to call. 241-1310. It is just short of we have about 9 minutes left in the program, and we will go back to Mary Michele, and we go to Phil on line 3. Mary.
Hi, Phil.
Good morning.
Did you have a particular question?
I just want to know if the rest of this year is going to be better than the first part of the year.
Okay. Well, you have the sun in Leo. You have the moon in Libra. Mercury in Cancer. Venus and Mars in Virgo. Do you have there been issues around your children recently? Do you have children?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Has this been part of the problem, part of the things that haven't, been going too well?
Yeah, well, I have one grandson that has had bad luck for a while.
Mm-hmm. Well, would you say that that's kind of the thing that's been causing you the most concern?
Yes.
Yeah. I think the thing is that he's probably somebody that he wants to desperately learn how to take care of himself. He knows that he can come to you for the kind of support that he needs when and if he needs it. But I think he really is trying very, very hard to learn how to do it for himself.
Oh, thank God.
What?
I said, thank God.
Yes? Do you feel that you've been the one that's been taking care of his issues more than he has?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, sometimes people do the reverse, I think that probably inside he would really rather be doing it for himself, but he keeps coming back to you because he knows that you have such a sense of who he is. You have a strong love for him, a strong caring, and so on. So he's probably at war with himself about this issue.
Uh-huh.
What is the problem that he has?
Well, it seems like he can't get a good job.
Uh-huh.
And things like that.
Mm-hmm. What does he do?
Well, right now he's working for something.
I'm sorry?
Where they deliver
something to do with the mail or the packages?
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, I think that if you could find him a female boss, I might suggest to him to work for a woman.
Yeah.
I think that would give him a sense of security, but at the same time it wouldn't be necessarily attached to the family. He could kind of shift the emphasis away from you. Do you think that he's going to continue where he's working, or is he looking for a new job?
Well, he keeps looking and hoping that he gets a better job because this doesn't pay very well.
Right. Well, I would suggest tell him to keep on looking and for you to realize that he needs to pull away. So, sometimes even if you have to be a little tougher with him than you would like, it's probably good, and he will appreciate it in the long run.
Okay.
Okay, thanks for calling.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Mary, our next caller's birthday is August 5th, 1921. It is Gene in Putnam Valley watching on cable channel 12, and he is on line 1. Gene.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Gene. August, what was it?
August 5th.
5th, 1921. Okay, the sun in Leo, the moon in Virgo, Mercury in Cancer, Venus in Cancer, Mars in Leo. Did you have a particular question?
Yeah. Back in 1989, I applied with several others to receive some funding for projects. The projects were only for the betterment of the economy, people, education. And I'm expecting the funding. I've been expecting the funding as with others.
You've been expecting the funding since 1989.
Yeah, that's when we first got in, right.
That's when you first got in.
I just want to know, is it for real? Will we be funded?
Will you be funded? Have you not had any indication in the last 2 years as which direction it's going?
Well, we've heard almost the same thing. Basically came out to be any time now.
Any time now. But I think 2 years ago there was a bit of a shift. Has it got to do with communication, what you're trying to... What field is this funding going towards?
Going towards, as I said, it's basically people who have been, let's say, accepted by the lenders.
Uh-huh.
We applied for and we wrote up what we wanted to do for our community, for education, whatever. It had to be good works only. It had to be for the good of people.
Right.
Mine was to build schools that will be safe, sane, and where people can learn, and the only violence would be against people who try to mess it up.
Right, right. You know, I think that there's a big shift in the way that even, you know, very charitable things are being worked out, you know, when you're trying to do a lot of good for a lot of people. But I think in as much as there hasn't been a negative answer to you, and there wasn't a sense of shutting you out 2 years ago in 1993, if there wasn't a shutout at that time saying that it isn't going to happen, that there's a strong indication that it will happen. But it might take a bit more time.
Okay, would it be this year?
It could be, but it could be another couple of years.
Oh.
I'm sorry, it's a slow process. This what we're talking about is something that started in '87. A particular transit, I mean, you know, astrological transit. So it'll take, it could happen this year. But if it doesn't, don't get your hopes down. I think the fact that it wasn't totally thrown out 2 years ago means that there's a good chance it's going to happen. Okay, thank you very much for calling.
Okay, thank you, Gene. Mary, we have one more caller, and we have 2 minutes left, so if we can get to it quickly. It is Ann calling from Putnam County on radio, listening to 1310. Her birthday, February 15th, 1946. February 15th, 1946. And hello, Ann, how are you?
Hello.
Hi, Ann. Was there a particular question you had?
I'd like to... And
I'm sorry, I can't hear you, Ann.
About health and and also about some real estate that
I'm sorry, about your health, and was it real estate?
That I'm managing for a friend of mine.
Real estate that you're managing for a friend of yours? Okay.
For fast, convenient service and a new mattress at the best possible price. Up to 60% below store prices for brand names like Sealy Posturepedic, Certa-Perfect Sleeper, and Spring Air Back Supporter. Call 1-800-TRY-A-BED today. Take advantage of their free package of free delivery and free removal of your old mattress. Services that stores charge up to $75 for. Also, 1-800-TRY-A-BED has 2-hour express delivery of your new mattress. No more waiting for delivery from a store. With 1-800-TRY-A-BED, you pay only upon delivery your approval of your new bed, and you get a 45-day comfort trial to make sure you're completely satisfied. So enjoy the nice weather. Make the most of your time and money. Call 1-800-TRY-A-BED for up to 60% off mattress savings. That's 1-800-TRY-A-BED. 1-800-TRY-A-BED, the smart way to buy a mattress. And good morning, and welcome to Meet the VIP. I'm Mike Sarnoff. Our guest is Mary Michele, our astrologer.
Good morning.
You're reading a book there. I don't know if I'm supposed to take umbrance to this or not. Astrology and the Man.
Well, you know, it's just a colloquialism. I don't think that it's necessarily just men. It's about everybody.
I just wanted to make sure you were PC politically correct on that.
Well, of course I am.
By the way, Mary Michele will be taking your calls, 241-1310. Good time to get in. We do have a couple of open lines now, 241-1310. What is the book telling you, by the way?
The book is written about a rather famous astrologer. I'm sure you've seen him in your local bookstore, called Sidney Omar. And he was very successful on television and radio in the 50s and 60s and so on. And he's, you know, very successful today with his books, and he did a lot of he did a lot of interviews with Merv Griffin, and I think he did a lot to further the understanding of astrology. He was someone that really had a lot of enthusiasm. I mean, is someone that has a lot of enthusiasm, but in those days there was a lot of controversy, and he, I think, helped dispel some of the controversy that one of the things that I wanted to mention was something that he wrote in here about the various holidays. And one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it was because I know how important environmental issues are today. And I think for environmentalists, it's important to recognize that one of the things you have to get in touch with is the planet. And it's important to know when the different holidays that celebrate nature actually happen. And those are things like the equinoxes and solstices. So I'm just going to read you something that he put together, talking about the different, how they interconnect. For example, Passover begins on the day of the first full moon after the vernal equinox, the beginning of spring and of the astrological year, when day and night are exactly the same length. The end of Lent, or Easter Sunday, is always the first Sunday after the full moon after the vernal equinox. It was the Emperor Constantine who declared that the day of the sun, Sunday, should be the Christian Sabbath, and the idea of Christianity, of course, is one God. In the Orient, the new year begins at the time of the new moon after the sun enters Aquarius, and it is termed Tet. This is when, we have the Chinese New Year, all the animals and so on. The Jewish New Year is set by the new moon in Libra, the zodiacal sign of the scales and the law. And the first day of Ramadan, which begins the most holy period of fasting and penitence for the Muslims, also is marked by this new moon in Libra. So as you can see, it's a lot of connection with the earth when you talk about these different sciences, astrology, numerology, and also the religions. They took this into consideration because we need to know about the seasons and how things shift and what the earth needs. So I think it's important for environmentalists to take a little more consideration and interest in the Farmer's Almanac and things that have to do with the cycles of the earth.
Okay, the Farmer's Almanac. I mean, you mentioned this, and I'm sitting here all of a sudden getting like this in my head. They had predicted such a horrible winter this last winter, and it wasn't that bad.
Well, this is the problem. It's never 100% accurate, but it's important to look at the cycles because I think that the cycles you might see other things that connect to it. It might not actually be the weather. There might be other things that happened. I can't think right off the top of my head what it might have been, but there might have been, certain like the strike that's coming up. There might have been certain things that happened in areas that don't exactly relate to the weather, but the weather affects them, like, strikes or airplane problems or, train problems or car problems or, things of that like. You have to use your imagination with this. You can't see it as being one fixed thing. The imagination is a very, very powerful tool. And what happens, the difficult side of the imagination is that we sometimes let it go out of control without keeping it in checks and balances. And this is what happens with people that overindulge in some way and get excessive. But on the other side, what happens then is that people also stop thinking about the fact that, or allowing themselves to use their imagination to intuit things, to recognize when a thought comes to you, when the first thing that comes to you is valid, it has some truth. Your unconscious is trying to tell you something. So there's two sides to it. And one of the things that I wanted to talk a little bit about today was the planet Neptune along those lines.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Okay.
Can we take a couple of phone calls
yes,
here?
Definitely.
Let's start there. Good morning to Paula from Putnam Valley. Her date of birth, August 23rd, 1937, 8/23/37. Good morning, Paula.
Good morning, Paula.
Are you there, Paula?
Good morning. Now everybody in Putnam Valley knows my age.
Well, that's all right. You should be very proud of it.
They don't know your last name.
Listen, my sons don't even know how old I am.
Well, then you're in trouble. Are you watching or are you listening, by the way?
Watching.
Okay, good morning to you. We're all saying good morning to you.
Please.
Okay.
August 23rd, 1937, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You have the sun in Leo and the moon in Aries. No, wait. the moon in Pisces. Was there a particular question?
Yeah, I never understood what you just said. Like reading, my horoscope and...
Okay, well...
I don't understand that stuff.
You don't understand it? You have to think of associative images. What does the sun bring to mind? Can you think of something like Louis XIV and his court of a lot of pomp and ceremony and, drama? He was technically a Virgo, but he was very close to Leo, like you. And the nature of Leo is that there's a quality of fun attached to ceremony and anything to do with pageantry or ritual, or there's something sort of a lot of enthusiasm. Does that ring true about your son?
Yeah.
Yes. The moon in Pisces, contrary to that, and the moon is your unconscious, right? The moon is the part of yourself that you're not as aware of, but it will come up and it will be the thing that will cause you to feel things differently than what the conscious mind wants to talk about. And the moon in Pisces is about being very much hidden. It's completely different from the sun in Leo. It's about, wanting to stay in the background and wanting to be caring and nurturing, and, Pisces rules hospitals, institutions. People that have a lot of Piscean qualities they're the helpers, the ones that want nurses, or, people that take care of others in a very kind, feeling way.
Oh, that's me.
That's you?
Obvious. Somebody once said if I wasn't so involved and if I ever won the lottery, I would need a third world country to keep me busy.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you win the lottery, you know where I am. I'll become a third world country.
Question.
Yeah.
It's been bothering me for most of my adult life. Every time I look at horoscopes, and I'm constantly looking at them, whatever publication I pick up, some say that my birthday is in Leo, and some say that my birthday is in Virgo.
Right. Well, you're born the day before the 23rd, right? The day before it changed. Now, there is the slight possibility that you are 0 degrees of Virgo, but it would depend on what time of day you were born.
5:15 in the evening.
There's a good chance that you are a Virgo, because this time that we use is it's the time in Greenwich, England, where time starts. So this is midnight in Greenwich. So it would technically be the next day. I would say that there's a pretty... I'd have to actually calculate your chart to do all the calculations to figure this out exactly. And I don't have a computer here with me. But I would say the odds are pretty good that you have the sun in Virgo. But it doesn't, this doesn't negate a lot of the things that I said about Leo, because whenever someone, there are usually other components. Actually, looking at your chart, you don't have any other Leo things, but maybe you have Leo rising. I don't know. Anyway, lots of times there will be a sense of this. You have Mercury in Virgo. So the way you think lots of times will be along this very mercurial, a good teacher.
Okay, Paula? We appreciate your call. Thank you very much. Paula from Putnam Valley. On the phone with us now is Helen from Yorktown. Helen is calling on behalf of her son. Helen, his birthday is September 30th, 1977. Helen, are you there?
Yes.
Oh, hi. There you are.
Hi.
Okay. Your son's date of birth, September 30th, 1977, correct?
Correct.
Okay. You're on with Mary Michele.
Hi, Mary.
Hi. Was there a particular question?
No, he's adopted, and I adopted him when he was 4 months old. And he knows that he's adopted and whatever, and we have given him all the love and everything. But now that, he resents that, and he's very angry. And I'm taking him to a psychologist to see, what's the problem. So he feels like his mom abandoned him. But I told him that it's not that way, and we are his parents. But he feels that the ones that he should be calling grandma and grandpa, he's calling mom and dad, and he's very upset.
Right. Well, You know, he has a harmonious aspect between the sun and the moon, his parents. So there is a deep-seated quality that he knows that you're there for him. You have to trust that. You know, I'm sure that, you know, how old is he, 18 or something?
17.
17, yeah. I mean, you know, that's a tough age. Let's face it, it's not easy. He has Mercury in the sign of Virgo. He's very bright. Does he work with computers or?
Yes, he does.
Yeah. He's got a very, very good mind. He's got Venus in Virgo. He might have trouble sometimes enjoying himself. He doesn't know how to have a good time. It's a little hard for him to be, you know, to just sit back and have fun. And also he has a little bit of trouble with fighting. He's not really good with knowing how and when to pick a fight with someone. So these are issues that he's probably having to work out right now. And I would just, you know, give it a little more time. You know, there's a good aspect between these two things that I was talking about, Venus and Mars. You know, it's a sextile. He will work it out, but it will take a little bit of time, and I think you just have to trust that will happen. And, you know, it probably has a little bit more to do with your chart as to why you're reacting to his...
A Gemini.
Yeah, right. So, anyway, was there something else?
Well, with some kind of, you know, the friends that I don't like, then I talk to him, and he says that to leave him alone, to trust him. And I said, but, you know, to trust you, you're doing the wrong things, and this scares me. He says he's not doing anything wrong, but I see that there's a lot of things that they're wrong.
Right, but I think you have to sit back and just give him a little rope. I think he'll surprise you. You know, he has a very solid love for you. He has the moon in Taurus. It's exalted, so mother is extremely important. But lots of times when mother is so important and she's so solid and she's so good and so real to him, you know, that means it's even harder to break away. So, you know, he needs to do this.
Okay, Helen, we do thank you for your call. I'm going to ask Christine to hold on for just a couple of seconds. We're talking to Mary Michele on Meet the VIPs. I'm Mike Sarnoff, and we are going to be back in exactly 1 minute and 30 seconds here at WVIP.
WVIP Radio and Television is growing. And right now, we're expanding our sales department. If you have media or outside sales experience and are looking to join a winning team, then call me, Bob DeFelice, at 241-1310. WVIP is looking for you if you are